Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready. Choose your character.
I think I figured out why I'm not attracted to men. Because I saw the first part of the video and I was about to scroll. I was like, okay, whatever. Then I saw the lipstick and I was like, oh, all of a sudden this person is attractive. The reason I was confused was because I was like, okay, I'm a lesbian, I'm not attracted to men. But what is a man, you know? So it's not that I'm not attracted to men per se, it's that I'm not attracted to the way men are socialized, generally speaking. So when I saw this, I thought to myself, okay, someone I'm perceiving as a man looks very masculine, scroll. Then when I saw this, it's not like he drastically changed and all of a sudden he looks completely different. No. Yeah, the lipstick looks good, it adds a pop, it adds a flair, love it. But to me, it had nothing to do with how this person actually looks. This just suggested to me that this person has done at least like the baseline level of work to unpack their toxic masculinity, misogyny, all that stuff. Is this a foolproof system? No. A lot of men on TikTok will throw on nail polish and a pearl necklace and say, I'm not a misogynist, follow me. Anyways, it's not about men, it's about how they're socialized. What a concept. This is sadly so true. I can't tell you how many doctors I've come into contact with over the years, and nurses as well, who legit hate fat people. And if you're a fat person who is otherwise healthy with a completely normal chart, they hate you even more. Because if there's no medical reason for you to lose a pile of weight, they just don't know what to do with you. And honestly, I think it makes them hate themselves. They spend all this time, money, effort trying to do everything right so that they're not fat. And when they see someone who's fat, who's otherwise healthy, I think they think, what the heck is the point? I was also recently reading an article about doctors treating obese pregnant women, and it specifically said that doctors should use that opportunity to encourage women to lose weight because when they're pregnant, they're more likely to be receptive to health advice for the good of their child. Manipulative much? I believe in health at every side. Screw these fat-phobic doctors.
My bad habits lead to
the Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.
So I appreciate this comment a lot because, yeah, like 300 can be looked at as a health problem. However, without like knowing who the person is or their health history, it's like, why even comment something like that? Because you don't know why I'm 300 pounds. And a lot of people assume that a 300-pound person is just binging and like eating like crazy versus like having an eating disorder. So like comments like this aren't helpful, and especially being a health professional is concerning because just because there are like many people who have issues with obesity as they get older doesn't mean that they're not active, doesn't mean that they don't have a healthy diet. You can't judge a person's health by how they look.
Since you love the last one so much, here's some more of my hot takes. Stop telling people to Google things, it's ableist. Obesity is associated with a number of chronic health conditions, but the directionality of such associations is largely unknown. Confounding is likely present. This means that the negative health consequences of those in larger bodies may be related to other factors, like weight stigma or cyclic dieting. Weight stigma increases your risk for diabetes. Health consequences directly related to obesity have only been strongly proven in patients with a BMI of greater than 40, and that's only 6% of Americans.
It's really nice to finally meet you.
So what's your zodiac sign?
I don't really believe in that kind of stuff.
So I actually found this video in another stitch going over everything that was wrong with this. And in that video, I saw a lot of comments speculating on what his sign might be. Like he's a Capricorn because they hate astrology, or he's a Gemini because everyone hates on Geminis. But if you watch his original video, you'll see he's a Cancer, and this is actually really important. Pretend for a minute that you are a toxic man looking into astrology and you see that you're a Cancer. You're gonna find traits like empathetic, nurturing, compassionate, moody, hysterical, passive-aggressive. And in the mindset of a toxic man, you know what these traits sound like? This sounds like a woman. And if you go back and watch his original video, this fictional woman he's portraying is actually the voice of his own inner critic. She is basically berating him for being too feminine. Men like this fear being seen as feminine above all else, which is why this video has nothing to do with astrology. He's just mocking women to prove his masculinity.
They allowed white citizens to come in and pay money under the table to be listed as part Native American.
1895 and 1896, when a lot of the whites found out the benefits that these blacks are going to be entitled to, a a lot of whites went to the Dawes Commission and say, look, why don't you put my name on there? They said, but you're not an Indian. So that's what they said, well, I'll give you $5. So then the rule got around, the policy got around that for $5 that a white could put his name on the Dawes rolls and be called himself an Indian and be entitled to all these benefits, and all their children could be entitled to all these benefits forever. And so that became known as what's called a $5 Indian. And so if you go around now and check most of the Indians, the so-called Indians in America, about 90% of them are not even Indians. Those are just whites now who are passing as Indians. But they're getting all the benefits. And they're not paying any taxes, getting free college education. They put up a little reservation on the land that they don't live on. They have another home off and get all kind of benefits.
Now that idiot done got me on my bullshit, let me go ahead and reiterate what white privilege is and how you combat it, okay? I did a video a couple of months back where I explained in detail what white privilege is. It is not saying that your life has not been hard, it has not had struggles. What it is saying is that you have not also had the added burden of the racial history of America along with it. There is your white privilege. And what I think a lot of white folks, when they're confronted with the words white privilege, I think they get hung up on the privilege part. They're thinking, $1 million mansions and legacy things and things of that nature, and that's not it, okay? What we're saying is white privilege is having the privilege to be able to go into a school board meeting, arguing against something you know for a fact is not being taught to your kids. You know CRT is not being taught to your children, but you have been hyped up believing that it is, so therefore you get a chance to be mad about it. And what does that lead to? Banning of books and of history. Be it Huckleberry Finn, Letters from a Birmingham Jail, The Fire Next Time, what have you. When you have gone to that point where you're starting to ban books and ban the teaching of history simply because it makes you feel uncomfortable, that is white privilege. That is white privilege. And it's not just enough to be, I don't see color, I'm not racist. You have to be anti-racist with shit like that. That's how you use your privilege. That's how you use it. To be able, when you hear shit like this, oh, they're banning a book. Oh, they're banning this history. That is your clarion call. It's time to stand up and go, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to fucking do this. Because it's not just black history that these people want to ban. It's not just black history that these people do not want taught. It's all history of people of color. Native Americans, Hispanics, Pacific Islanders, things of that nature. Because they're trying to make a world where they're comfortable, but they're making their children less smart. And like anybody with children would know, if you do not teach it at home, they're going to find it out in the streets and they're going to find about it wrong. That is how you use your white privilege in a positive direction, or what my brother Conscious Lee calls education is elevation. You know these things are going on. You know how wrong they are. The only voices that can actually say something are the voices of the people who are saying this shit in the first place. If you truly want to understand white privilege is the ability and the privilege of being able to not deal with the history you choose not to, but you're making your children worse off in the long run.
Name something you did online this year that people got unreasonably angry about.
I existed as a non-binary person in education. I'm a preschool teacher, and I'm non-binary.
Want to know a little secret? Teachers still get first day of school jitters. I am starting at my new school tomorrow. So I've had 2 days, but they were both at my school where I've been teaching for 8 years. And so tomorrow is the first day that I'm going to be teaching at this other school because of some COVID-related redoing of my job. So anyways, yeah, and I'm terrified. I keep thinking, do I remember how to get around the building? No. What are the kids going to be like? What are the other adults going to be like? And yeah, so there it is. Teachers still get scared. Also, she's been sitting here looking at me the entire time. Sorry if you can hear that.
Hey, daddy, watch me come. Daddy!
From the back, 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 from the back.
So you mean to tell me that this lady right here, Rachel Powell, who was caught on video breaking into the Capitol building with a battering ram and then shouting instructions to insurrectionists, is free, known by the FBI by her name, Rachel Powell, giving news interviews, and we have a little black 9-year-old girl pepper sprayed while handcuffed in the back seat of a police car during a mental health crisis with 9 full-grown officers on site. And motherfuckers want to say there's no such thing as white privilege? Are you serious?
Everyone needs to listen to this.
Screamed to my colleagues to follow me across the aisle to the Republican side of the chamber so that we could blend in. For I felt that the insurrectionists who were trying to break down the doors right here would spare us if they simply mistook us for Republicans. But within moments, I recognized that blending in was not an option available to my colleagues of color. So I'm here tonight to say to my brothers and sisters in Congress and all around our country, I'm sorry. For I had never really understood what privilege really means.